We are now in the next episode of Human Body Parts. This video is about liver, one of the most important organs in our body. And unlike the heart that makes a lot of noise and it's very noticeable, liver has plenty of important tasks that's done with no noise. In our body, we have 5 vital organs, and to continue living, we need them. These are the brain, heart, both of the lungs, both of the kidneys, and of course, the liver. And it's interesting to know you only need 1/3 of your liver to function properly, and we'll tell you later how that's done. You see the liver that's very quiet and it's doing its job? Well, it has over 500 different tasks that it has to get done. But in this video, we're not going to tell you everything it does. Just the important ones. Before we move forward, liver is the second heaviest organ in the human body, and it has an average weight of about 3 pounds or 1.5 kilos. You might say, what's the biggest and heaviest organ in the human body? The biggest and heaviest belongs to the skin, which is all over your body, and a lot of people don't know that it's an actual organ. And the third heaviest is the brain. When you look at the liver, it looks like it's cut into 2 pieces, but in actuality, it's cut into 4 spaces. The cells inside the liver that are formed in groups are called the lobules. The lobules inside the liver have the most important job. We keep telling you that the liver's job is extremely important and how these cells have the most important job inside the liver, but we haven't said what it actually does. You guys have probably seen our video about a heart. It's basically a pump that pumps blood throughout the body. The liver's job is all about blood too, but instead of pumping the blood, it filters the blood. Just imagine your body is an engine. The oil pump that pumps the oil everywhere is the heart, and the oil filter is the liver. And without this oil filter, the engine will have a short life. But the difference between a human and a car is you can change the oil filter, but it's extremely difficult to change the liver. Just like we said, the liver is giant and it has a lot of weight. And the main reason is, at all times, 13% of the human blood is inside the liver being filtered. One of the small arteries that enters the liver comes from the heart. When the heart pumps fresh oxygenated blood all over the body, one of these goes to the liver, but it goes through an artery that's kind of small. The main blood that enters the liver comes through the portal vein. The blood that comes through the portal vein has to go inside the liver, get filtered, and enter the bloodstream once it's clean. You have to know that if you drink alcohol, use drugs, even any type of drug you use, and of course if you smoke cigarettes, it all has to get filtered through the liver. Just imagine how hard the liver's job is for some people. When the blood enters the liver and after a while it gets filtered, it leaves from the hepatic artery, and this is now clean blood that enters the bloodstream. We just said all the liver does is filter blood, but it has a ton of other jobs. Like for example, not only is it cleaning up and filtering the human blood, it kills old red blood cells inside the body. There are a certain type of cells inside the liver called the Kupffer cells, and their main job is to do this. So you might ask, do red blood cells actually get old? Yes, they do. Red blood cells have a maximum life of 120 days, and after that they're old and they have to be eliminated. The Kupffer cells detect the old red blood cells and get rid of them. And when they consume these red blood cells, they have to release something, right? Yes, they release hemoglobin. The Kupffer cells also get rid of pathogens inside the liver, and any bacteria that wants to enter the liver are eliminated before they get too far. The Kupffer cells are a very organized army for the liver, and they keep it extremely safe. Another interesting thing the liver does is that it makes blood clots in certain areas that is needed. It doesn't cause blood clots like a heart attack, but when you get a big or small cut on your skin and you start bleeding, the liver is responsible for gelling up the blood in that area and basically creating a blood clot so it stops the bleeding. If the liver wouldn't do this, even with a small cut, a person could die from bleeding because it would just not stop and it would keep coming out. But that's not the case. A little blood comes out and it stops, and that's all thanks to the liver. We said drugs, alcohol, cigarettes, and other forms of substances are extremely bad for your liver, but we didn't say that anything you consume has to be filtered with your liver. Like for example, if you take vitamin supplements or anything that has vitamins, it doesn't straight go into your bloodstream. It first enters your liver, gets consumed, and then the vitamin leaves your liver and enters the bloodstream. Any fat you eat has to enter the liver and be filtered. Alongside a liver, you have another organ that's very close to it called the pancreas. The pancreas and the liver have to work together to maintain glucose levels inside the bloodstream. If there's low blood sugar in the bloodstream, the pancreas gives an order to the liver to release more glucose inside the blood, so the blood sugar levels starts to rise. And then you eat something sweet like a piece of cake. In this case, your blood sugar rises, and the pancreas realizes this and sends insulin inside your bloodstream to lower blood sugar. The liver is more complicated than it seems, and these are the most important things it does. And of course, that was all in simple terms. You guys realize that the liver is extremely important, and it's very easy to damage it and lose it. The biggest damage your liver can experience is through hard drug use and alcohol. Like when someone takes a lot of painkillers like methadone or B2 painkillers, these all go straight to the liver and they have to get filtered. The liver has to work extremely hard to get rid of the negative substances in these drugs, and in return, it's damaging itself. Alcohol is one of the #1 enemies to the liver. One of the worst things that could happen to your liver is if it becomes a fatty liver, which is a form of disease, and nowadays it's seen everywhere. We said that alcohol and drugs could make your liver a fatty liver, but the worst one is obesity and diabetes. These two will damage your liver. What is fatty liver anyways? Just like it says, it's a fatty liver. And there's a percentage on how bad the disease is. If it gets extremely worse, the liver could develop cancer, and that's extremely deadly and dangerous. And sometimes, even before it develops cancer, it could cause liver failure. And when that happens, that's pretty much a death sentence. Unless there is a transplant available, which is extremely hard to do. Even if you find a liver to transplant, sometimes it doesn't work well and your body doesn't accept it. So how can we keep our liver safe and prevent it from happening? The most important thing is, don't use drugs and of course alcohol. Don't eat too much sugar or junk foods. You have to know that inside every fast food, there is a bunch of terrible things, including sugars and a ton of salt, which is bad for your liver. Eating burnt food is terrible for your liver as well. Like for example, even a burnt piece of bread could damage it, and your liver has to work extremely overtime to get rid of it. The liver loves it when you work out, eat healthy foods, and take a normal amount of vitamin B, C, D, and E, but never take too much vitamins, because when you take too much, not only will it damage your liver, but it will damage your entire body. What are the symptoms when you have a fatty liver? Stomach ache, nausea, swollen foot, and a swollen stomach, which is kind of obvious. And the most obvious one is your skin turning yellow, especially your eyeball, and this is exclusively called jaundice. Hepatitis is a virus related to your liver as well. Like hepatitis A could be received from saliva, but hepatitis B only comes from sexual acts and blood. But hepatitis itself deserves its own video, and we might make it in the future. I wish you guys the very best, and I hope you enjoyed this video.